Welcome to At Work With, where I sit down with industry leaders to get real about their career journeys. No rehearsed answers, no corporate fluff, just honest conversations about the wins, the fails, and all the messy bits in between. In this episode, I'm so excited to be joined by the absolute powerhouse in luxury publishing, that is Lucy Cleland, co-founder and editorial director of Country and Townhouse magazine. If you're not familiar with Country and Townhouse, it's the go-to Bible for anyone who loves city buzz and country living, bringing together the best of both worlds. Lucy's not only just running the magazine, she's redefining what modern luxury really means. Under her leadership, Country and Townhouse has made a bold commitment to sustainability, with 25% of all their content will focus on eco-conscious living. She's really putting her money where her mouth is. From the brands we buy to the food we consume, sustainability is at the forefront. Her passion for sustainable luxury, as you will hear in this episode, is infectious and it's transforming the industry. Lucy has navigated massive changes from print to digital and really creating a publication that has a multimedia edge to it. And she's got some incredible stories to share. Funny enough, I actually met her at a corporate sustainability event last year where we were both invited. It was during the lunch break and I was really lost as to which queue to join. And she saw me looking very lost and she ushered me over to her, and that's how it all began. I remember thinking then when I was speaking to her and asking about her job and her experience and just thinking she's like so cool, is that if I ever got around to making a podcast, I would definitely be asking her to be one of my guests. And here we are. So let's dive in and learn what it takes to lead one of Britain's most influential and fast-growing luxury lifestyle brands while staying true to your values. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Anna.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy for you to be here. Thank you for saying yes, as I was saying to you earlier before I hit record.
Not at all. It's good to say yes. It's also good to say no, but we like saying yes as well.
And actually, what I'd love to start with is tell our readers how we met, which was a couple of months ago, very randomly in the lunch queue at an event that we were at, if you remember.
Absolutely. Yes, we're in the city, weren't we?
We were in the Rothschild event, the three space.
Yeah,
event,
Scope 3.
Yeah.
I felt a little out of my depth. Full of movers and shakers. Yeah. It was fascinating. I think it was about introducing sort of innovative startups to potential investors. Really very tech-based, very sustainable, solutions-based. And you go to these things and you always learn something and you always meet someone. And I met you.
Absolutely.
Here we are.
And we met, and I think I vaguely remember it was lunchtime and I was really confused as to which room to go in to get lunch. And I think you were like, oh, why didn't you come and join me? And that was so kind of you. So thank you. I was a bit frazzled. I think I was filling in for my manager last minute. So I hadn't done any research in the event. I'd kind of just shown up and it was incredible, but very overwhelming with such like big personalities in the room. And I was a bit like, oh my God. So thank you for making that experience so much better for me.
Oh God, it's total pleasure, and vice versa. I was totally didn't know anyone.
And then here we are. So welcome to the podcast. So Lucy, before we begin, I'd love to just, for those that aren't familiar with Country and Townhouse and the contents of the publication, if you could give us a really high level overview of the publication and what it represents.
Sure. I guess in a nutshell, Country and Townhouse focuses very much on lifestyle, a lucky lifestyle. It's about the best things in life, but how do we reframe those best things? And of course, it is about what you surround yourself with, but definitely not just about stuff and products and money. It's about trying to engage in what the world really has to offer you through culture and nature and people and community. So call it a balance of both worlds. So we go high, we go low, but we're really interested in cultivating how we really sort of need to live our lives for these current times to a certain
Mm.
demographic, I have to say. Yeah,
And I love the, like I was saying to you before we hit record, was I love, as in I've been in like Lucy Land the last couple of days, and I love the quote that the tagline of the magazine is "a life in balance," and it's
yeah,
such a nuanced phrase, right? Like there's just so much that we can go into when you say life in balance. But what does that, I say, if for someone as a founder of the magazine and now obviously editorial director, what does that mean to you when you say life in balance?
gosh,
I'm hitting you
it's
with the harder
everything to me.
questions at the
I
beginning.
think, no, no, no. I think, life, life is yin and yang, that the philosophy, everything, the earth and the sea, the sky and the air, everything, every action has a reaction. So everything is about balance. And we know that when things are out of balance, things go wrong, whether it's your health, how you're eating, if you're drinking too much, if you don't get enough sleep. We just know that balance, nature teaches us balance is the state that we ideally need to float in. Obviously, there are lots of variations on that, and really important that we hit those highs and hit those lows, because that's our sort of growth. Um, but absolutely, we need, among those highs and lows, that equilibrium for us as part of a natural world of which we are nature is is critical.
Absolutely. So I one of the aims that I love to do with this podcast is really understand the guest and kind of where they started. So if we were to go way back, so before Country and Townhouse and your experience at
Oh,
Condé Nast's stuff as well, what first drew you into journalism? So like, how did you even how did you get into the field?
it's such an unglamorous story. I wish I could say that I was a little girl, sort of reading Vogue when I was 8 and being really precocious. Actually, not at all. Um, I think I found my way to where I am now, and it's taken decades. Um, I was a person who was quite good at things, I maybe not outstanding, but I could get on with most things at school. I was pretty academic, pretty sporty, but I wouldn't have said I excelled. So I really sort of could have gone any which way. Um, Back in the 90s when I graduated from the University College London, and I did a classics degree, so Greek and Latin. Where's that going to get you? I mean, it's a great degree. Um, and then I literally, I think it was my second job, um, was entering through the doors of Condé Nast and not actually really know the legacy of that building or that incredible company. So there I was, a very sort of not wet behind the ears, I wouldn't say that, but I literally think it was, I need a job. I've got a great degree. Not sure. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a doctor. Where can I go? So in those, this word media was about, what is media? Media sounded sexy and exciting and exotic. And I just happened to see a position at Condé Nast, and it's a very, very funny process back in the day to get a job there. Very old fashioned. You're sort of screened for where you went to school, who you knew. Very like this would not happen nowadays. So I guess I fitted those boxes that Condé Nast back in the 90s was maybe looking for. Anyway, it was a low level job in a new department, and it was not Vogue, it was not one of the big titles you would all know. It was very much in startup department, that was, it's called contract publishing, so it would produce Condé style magazines for clients. And actually, looking back, it's probably, for me, the best thing is to work in a supportive environment, but on a startup. So it was literally, we were out pitching. I was learning the business side. I was learning the editorial side. There were four of us. I got to do everything. If I started at Vogue, I suspect I would have been making tea for a year. Of course, learning and stuff, but it made you humble, because you didn't come associated with a brand that gave you maybe an inflated sense of yourself. It made me very humble in that building. I think being humble is really important, especially when you start off in a career. What you're learning, you should learn as much as you can and get as dirty as you can. And this department allowed me to do that without any presumption that I was part of, a legacy. So I think that stood me in good stead. But yes, I was getting the Condé rules and how to execute things well, how to put something together, quality, quality. What's the story? What's the visual? So yes, that was my entree into this world. I didn't grow up wanting to be to do what I've ended up doing.
Thing then.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not, it's just, terrifying. That is absolutely not at all.
I've got to say, I'm sorry I gave into the stereotype. I think when you were like, I'm editor-in-chief, I was like, oh my God, have I just...
No. I'm the least like that character that it'd be possible to meet. And I think that there's an advantage and disadvantage to that. I think I care deeply about what I do, but I don't take it. It's not the most serious thing in the world. So I can look at what I do and I can put huge importance into what I do, and I want to do what I do really well. But we're not, we're not rocket scientists here.
No,
but we have created something.
Yeah, and it's such a refreshing take to hear that from, I think from looking from the outside in into this industry. Obviously, we're very influenced by the media and kind of what it shows us about what it's like to work in a big magazine and the glossy luxury magazines. It's very refreshing. And I think even our 10-minute conversation in that lunch queue that I keep coming back to, I was just my perception.
I shattered your dreams, didn't I?
No, it was brilliant.
Shattered your illusions.
Editor-in-chief would look like. I was just surprised, and I was like looking at my own biases, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting, and I really hope that one day I can interview her if I ever start this podcast. So thank you.
Oh.
But it seems like you went almost like full circle. So you saw the operational side, but you were also learning a lot of the corporate side and the business side. So at what point was the key moment that then you started your own publication, which I believe was 2007? Correct? Yes. Like, what was that moment where you were like, oh, I'm just going to go start my own magazine? I mean...
Well, that sounds very... I think it's more like desperation than anything else. So in the intervening years, I only stayed at Condé for 3 years. I actually got terribly bored, which sounds awful. So I think I was about 27 when I left, and I went off to work on a ranch in Montana for a year, to go and live that dream. Came back and I wrote for the local paper there, which was just probably my favorite thing
at the ranch. Okay, fine.
I was
a little bit of journalism.
Basically a chalet girl, and I had pretensions of writing a novel, which I was trying to be romantic and run away and write Sick in the Mountains with horses and write novels. But yes,
I did not find a novel in my research, but maybe it's coming.
No, yeah, you won't. Mind you, I am going on a literary writing course in Morocco with Alan Hollinghurst in a week. Oh, okay. So you never know. I think writing a novel is... You do. I think writing a novel, I don't know if I have it in me. I'd like to think I do, but I'm doubtful, shall I say. Anyway, so intervening time, I then came back from Montana, jobless, clueless. What do I know? I just did some freelance work at another publishing company. Literally, I think I was reading Yellow Pages. That was my job. But I was aspiring high. And then by chance, I then moved on to a small business where I met my future husband. And we created a portfolio of glossy local London magazines. And because of my Condé training, I was able to come into that business, which was great, really give it a Condé Nast Hut style spin. So you think local, you think a bit boring, a bit sort of, I don't know, not glossy enough. So I came in and my remit was to make these popular titles. So we had one for Notting Hill, one for Chelsea, one for Chiswick. They were very much supported by estate agent advertising. But I came in and said, right, hang on, these are these look just dowdy. How can we? These are the most incredible places in London. These should these should look amazing, and these should feel amazing. We should have amazing writing. So so that was my sort of mission there, to create Condé Nast style titles with tiny budget for these very sort of influential areas of London. And I would start to bring in better writers that I got to know, and it was an amazing job. But we were eaten up. We were sold after a few years um, to a company, a big company who either said we'll buy you or we'll destroy you. So I guess
Oh wow.
they had to
Okay.
they had to buy us. And it literally left the sort of I had to engage with her for a year or so afterwards. But then my now husband was like literally we're unemployed. What are we going to do? So I all credit to him. We both know magazines. We both know publishing. You've got to find a niche. So when we launched Country and Townhouse, it's a totally different beast from what it was back then. Um, hey, Country Life, that's an amazing magazine. It's hundreds of years old. It's incredibly commercially successful. But what audience is it? Is its audience, are they evolving with it? Are they speaking to the sort of children of the country life reader? So we thought, okay, we know the estate agents, we know glossy publishing. How about we sort of build it as the naughty, the naughty offspring of a country life magazine. So a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more urban in tone, but very much that sort of seamlessly going between town and country, picking up on that vibe. And this is pre the crash of 2008. So you very much think in that time it was very much property driven by huge city bonuses. These people who worked very, very hard and had their pads in Notting Hill or Chelsea or Fulham. But there was a big move to I'm going to go and invest in a weekend bolt hole in that, typically the Cotswolds, West Sussex, Somerset, Dorset, Hampshire. So looking back, it was very much driven by what are the trends here? And so we very much tapped into that and gave a sort of modern aesthetic to it, a country town life. What could it be? So that was us when we started. Yeah. And 6 months of that, and then the world changed in 2008.
Post which then you pivoted, right? Because I think initially it was just a very like a property magazine, but incredibly glossy and luxurious and really like.
Well, we used to carry a sort of 80 pages of
Oh my
glorious houses.
god.
However much you hate magazines or hate how, we know that people love looking at houses, right? So,
Yeah.
country
So was
life,
that was your pivotal moment, right? I think with the
that was like
crash that
the
came and
country house market died
gone.
overnight. So, so our revenue, a big part of our revenue stream disappeared. Uh, B, we had to do a whole rebrand and a rename, and then tap far more into that urban market, which, if that's where the funds are in those situations, that city money was still there, or city property was still there, but everything sort of commercially from outside London was very, very hard. So we were called Country House. We had to relaunch as Country Townhouse to tap into that urban market. And we couldn't, of course, be called Town and Country because there's a very famous American magazine already, and we would have got sued.
Yeah.
So that's how this name evolved, which is I spent sort of 10 years of my career trying to explain who we were with the name, so maybe we didn't do a great job. But now we have sort of 17 years of brand equity. People, we still, we still have a lot of work to do with sort of brand recognition, but we're still pretty neat. But within the market in which we operate, we have done we've penetrated.
No, absolutely. I've been reading a lot of your content, which is it's very interesting to see a luxury magazine coming out with that. One of the things that you said in one of your previous interviews is around just luxury, and kind of luxury is where you choose to spend your time and your money. How do you find that coincides with what magazines try to do in general, right? So how has the magazine industry evolved with that, or has it evolved, or is Country and Townhouse its own kind of beast that's trying to do sustainability and luxury and just find like a middle sweet spot?
Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it? Um, Fundamentally, magazines are supported by brands, and what the brands want to do, they want to sell.
Absolutely, yeah.
And absolutely, one, we can't stop making things, we can't stop
Mm.
buying things. But how you choose to do that and where you choose to spend your money and your time is for a person so important. So it's weaving that narrative into our stories and celebrating the great craft and exciting. Brands can be really exciting and they can have real influence. You just think of the brands we know that I don't think we even fathom how influential they are. But just see what if those brands could use that influence? And some people just negate this, and brands are about selling and profit and
Mm-hmm.
paying
Mm-hmm.
their shareholders back. Surely there's more. Given the times we're living in, if you've got influence, can you use it in the right way? And in our very sort of small way, I am trying to use our platform to create nudge tactics to an audience who are receptive to wonderful things, new ideas, exciting innovations, gorgeousness, glossiness, all that stuff that makes you feel incredible. But can we just tweak it so it's like not to the detriment of everything else?
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah.
I mean, you also say, right, like, if you've got this platform, you have a responsibility almost as the leader of that platform to be able to do the right thing. So, what has been one of your biggest challenges? Because I know obviously you became B Corp certified almost 2 years ago now, 2023. I know you guys
Sure.
obviously have signed the Race to Zero pledge, but has that not been difficult? Because I think you're the first British magazine to do that, right?
I think there's
And
a
how,
lot of, yeah, I think there's a
or one
lot
of the
of,
firsts,
we're definitely the first glossy magazine in the world to
glossy
do
magazine.
Corp.
Yeah.
Glossy, yeah.
Yeah.
The Guardian is V Corp. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and V Corp don't like you saying you're the first to to your own trumpet, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
someone's got to do it. Um,
I'll do it for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. I also think, you know, B Corp gets good and bad press. Um, I think when you hold yourself up to a higher standard, then you're holding yourself accountable. And those, the challenges to keep those standards high, and they've come in for a lot of criticism for a lot of brands that how come these guys have got, what is perceived to be the highest sort of ESG standard going. Um, my take is that you go through B Corp and it changes how you look at business. So the training of just looking at a different way at what you're doing is the most powerful thing. So, there's business as usual, there's profit, 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 margin, 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 margin. And are you thinking about, you know, supply chains? Are you thinking about the impact of your product? Are you thinking about the life cycle of your product? When you do people, all those things come into play and you question everything. And that leads to a whole universe of like, oh, wow, this is happening over here, or we can work with these people. It challenges the status quo. And I think that is the value of just seeing your business through a lens that is not just profit and margin, which are just, I just
Which,
want to, of course I am, but I,
yeah.
people need purpose, and people need
Yeah.
to get up every day and feel they're on the right side of history, because, things are going pretty badly wrong out there. So I just, I'm going to change the world, but I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to think, what can I do in my remit with the amazing people I work with and the amazing audience that we can speak to? What can I do? That's it. No more, no less.
And it seems like you walk the walk, right? You really put your money where your mouth is. And it sees in the last couple of years, I mean, I've been reading about your transformation. What does your day in the life of an editor look like now as compared to, I don't know, when you started maybe 15, 17 years ago? Has it, of course, it's changed significantly. You've gone digital as well. But how has that changed with all of this kind of almost reformation?
Yeah, for example, last week we got the whole business uh, doing a carbon literacy day, which sounds so boring, but actually it was
Yes.
absolutely brilliant. And the, the people I work with absolutely loved it. You could see the engagement. You could see that was, you have to, you have to give people a reason to engage, and you just can't rely on dictating. People have got to feel they're part of something. And when you're part of something, you're all trying to do the same thing, then there feels, you feel excited, you feel comforted that you're not on your own. You're sitting at the top saying, bang, bang, drum, drum. People don't respond to that. People don't like that. So it's my whole philosophy and what we're trying to do is to do things in a way that is inviting and inclusive and not hectoring and telling people off, because I just don't. Our readers are very sophisticated. They know it's not me telling them, but I know we can still have influence. And you're going to choose to invest your money in this or this, I'm going to give you hopefully the right choice. But we are not perfect. I absolutely hold my hands up. Everything about this is a journey, learning all the time. And I think we're in danger of bringing down people because they aren't perfect, but it's very hard to be perfect. And the more we learn and the more we share and the more we communicate, surely the better this is. And this is when we encounter greenwashing, and which is hugely detrimental to the whole sort of movement. But it's hard because it's the system. Changing things is hard. So the more people trying to change, it's quite frankly the better.
Absolutely. And so then I think thinking forward, what's your, like, where do you see, especially now you've been branching out, obviously you're in podcasts, you're in digital, where do you see the vision for Country and Townhouse in the next, I'd say, 2 years, 3 years? I mean, things are changing so fast today.
Great question. Yeah.
With the onslaught of social media and AI, and just where do you see? It's a very open question. Like,
yeah. Well, we were asked this in our carbon literacy training, because obviously we're committed to net zero by 2050, which is Britain's legally binding pledge as well. So how do we align what we're doing with also this net zero commitment? And that's all these sort of traveling along with the and quite frankly, will magazines exist? Will we're really strong in print, but if you look at the general publishing industry, magazines have fallen off a cliff.
No, and it's so sad. Like, I love that ability to be able to hold something in my hand and finish it cover to cover. This is why I can never use. I have a Kindle and I don't use it because I keep mine.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's just my just old school, but I don't get the same satisfaction of reading.
No, I look. I think there'll always be a place, because I think there's room for it all, and I think it's how you adapt. Obviously, magazines like classic magazines they can't leave the trends now. The trends are out there as soon as they hit the catwalk, or before, like breaking news in magazines is gone. So you're not the first to do anything. Um, what you are is a curator. So um, you're giving you're giving an opinionated curation of what you're enjoying, or what you know your audience will enjoy learning about in a sort of more relaxed environment than
This
constant
non-stop.
this
Yeah.
constant I do it myself. I like, wow, I read far less books now.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely shit. I used to read novels like, and
Yeah.
now like
I me too.
oh, it's awful. I'm ashamed. I see it with my children that, I, my daughter doesn't read books so much. Like, that breaks my heart. My son does. I keep it going. As I know the value of that sort of holding something and the word, because it just penetrates more.
Yeah.
You're learning everything up here. You kind of, it's just coming in and
And
going
it's
out.
never
So that
ending. Like it just doesn't
it's never
end.
ending.
It's
It's rabbit
continuous,
hole. So
continuous. Yeah.
so these magazines, I think, will always have a place. I think like most things, that the very bad will disappear, and and the middle ground where, but if you're creating something that has sort of that tactile value, something that someone would like to see somewhere on a table, you know, that that has an inherent value in itself. And I guess, we need to make these things we create feel like real treats, and that someone is going to part with a little bit of money every month or every other month to take something that gives them a value that you don't find digitally.
I
That's
love
my
I
take.
love the way that you've explained about just like you're almost a curator of value that a consumer can then use. This wasn't in the questions, but one of the things that was released today in the news was for Amazon Web Services VP had come in to talk about how AI has formed almost a two-tier economy, almost as if like startups starting now are embedding AI into everything they're doing,
Yeah.
whereas like older companies, corporates like ourselves, or just more established companies are still playing catch up. Where does Country and Townhouse fit into that? Have you been impacted by AI? I mean, of course you would have, but has
I
it
had to
become
write, I had to,
embedded in your? Is it something that's coming
it's,
really fast and hard to you guys in
it's
publishing
certainly
in
not
general?
embedded. Yeah, it's a huge challenge. We I now have to sort of ask when a copy comes in, having used ChatGPT. Um, there are certain giveaways, like, yeah, it's coming because it's pretty damn good.
Mm.
Um,
It's scary. I find it
it's
very, very nerve
scary.
wracking.
It's really scary, but fear is not an option in these things.
Mm.
When you're afraid, and I have this about the climate crisis, if you're afraid, you have to act on it. So, unless you engage with it, you stay in fear. You have to engage with it. You have to learn about it. You have to read up about it, even if you're not going to use it. You have to sort of understand a bit what's going on. Otherwise, you will be left flailing. Uh, what have we done? We sent a survey around the office about how individuals are engaging with it at the moment. We're in the middle of then putting a sort of procedure policy together around, of course, it's going to be really helpful on identifying opportunities, putting together pictures from just that sort of administrative time that one spends. Um, I've got a wonderful guy who writes a column. He's the head of River Action, who's all over the news all the time because they're taking the government to task over the terrible state of our river. And he's done a piece for me that is entirely written by ChatGPT, about how our AI can help with the environmental crisis. We had to flag that it got some of the facts wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But B, the point was that if it could be organized, like everything, right? If it can be organized for the greater good, and that your time is actually not spent doing this administrative sort of organization, writing captions for social, blah, blah, blah. If it can be used for that, that your time is far more effective doing what you do, which is, out there or talking to the policymakers,
All the
campaigning,
strategic stuff that you
yeah,
could
I
do
mean,
in person.
that's got to be a win-win. Um, I, I feel, there's a lot of sort of double standards in this world, and
Yeah,
it's, it is, it's, it's worrying. It's
yeah.
worrying.
But do you ever
I think you
worry?
stay true to your values,
Yeah.
and I think
Well, yeah.
the
I think, like you
human,
said,
the
right?
human
Either
was
or.
out, hopefully,
Yeah.
but
But do you ever worry? Just,
sometimes,
I guess, just in publishing or just journalism in general, not just Country Townhouse, that journalists could eventually start losing their voices almost, because the AI it's smart, it's intelligent. The more you use it, the more it understands how you speak, how you think, your tone, your format.
yeah,
So I always think that as well. I'm like, what is the future? So I've got a almost 2 year old, and I always just think, I was like, what is life going to be like for him in school with just AI and digital and screens? Like, how
I totally agree. And
I can't even understand it. Which probably what my
yeah,
mum felt like all those years ago.
I think, I think there'll be a huge move to how do we use our hands. So maybe that's a good thing. Like,
I hope.
you're not gonna, a plumber, all those things where you need craft and hands and to create things, to build things, to row things, to look after things, to look after people. Maybe there's a huge sort of comeback to, I can't do it. I'm gonna become a farmer. I'm gonna garden. I'm going to paint. I'm going to do creative stuff because this stuff over there is being taken. So maybe there's a good thing that will come out of this, but I also worry about the sort of wild west nature of this and the lack of regulation and this, race to the bottom. So I find that very, very concerning. And then, and the disinformation spreading. We can see the impacts of that already. I think young people will have to have their wits about them. But they will learn to adapt. We always sort of have, but it does feel quite a big one.
Well, I guess to pivot on that question, the actual question I had for you was, what excites you about the future of publishing, particularly around luxury publishing and sustainability? What are you most looking forward to in the future?
So luxury is now about the experience. It's an experience of like so how are brands transforming that experience for a person that is connected and deep and meaningful, and that is just not transactional. I think again that
That's
the
a key
power of the
point.
brand, the power of the brand is incredible, and it's those brands that forge trust and connection with their audience, and that is through the experience from top to bottom, and that it's positive and it's beneficial for the person involved, for the person working there, for the planet. That's exciting. That's exciting. So although LVMH, they're hugely investing in hotels, restaurants, that again, where can we come together as people? We need to come together. We need to have wonderful experiences, um, uh, rather than just sort of buying the odd,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, which I'm
I
sure
mean,
is a
I guess
wonderful
I would say,
experience. But
yeah.
you know.
As a consumer, or myself especially as a consumer, you end up buying the brand or investing in the brand rather than the product, and I think it's just around how
Sure,
do you create that value. Um,
sure.
Fine. So I guess then like moving on, kind of bringing it to a close. You've
Yeah.
spoken obviously at length about your career and all the ups and downs, and it sounds incredible. Is there anything when you look back that you think you would change or you wish you would have done better?
Oh gosh. Do you know what? It's so hard. Um, I think growing older is sort of amazing because uh, it's so easy. You grow older, like you can look back and go, "Well, why did I worry so much about that at all?" Or I don't care about that so much anymore. I honestly bring it on. I have now finally built confidence to speak. You know, it's not always easy to find a voice or know what you want to say. I don't think I did that for my first ages and ages. And one and that's the joy of experience. Um so I always said from a very young age, don't have regrets because regrets are meaning you're not learning. So everything is about learning from something, the bad things, the good things, and you are not always in control of your life. You know, um,
Oh, I
you
love
just
that.
you have to take the risk. You have to learn to fail. You have to learn from that failure. And I think the most wonderful part of my job is getting to meet who I meet and speaking about not not what I do, but what they do. That's far more interesting, and that's the privilege of what I do. I am allowed to ring up people and say, "I love what you do. Can we speak?" And
Mm,
that's pretty
that's quite
amazing.
cool. Yeah, that's quite cool. Fine. So then, I guess to close it off. Lastly, what advice would you give to someone listening in who wants to start a career in publishing, especially in today's climate?
Have a backup. I think I think I think today's look, we need great journalists. We need people to hold people to account. That's not the journalism I do. I'm talking, hardcore investigative reporting. What is going on? People need to know, and people need to be brave, and people need to report on the stuff that's going on out there. Otherwise, we just all great. So there's a huge need for reliable, trustworthy media, and that is obviously the threat. Uh, so the more and more people who can do that, absolutely needed. Uh, my type of journalism, um, I think I do think it's hard to make. It's a hard career, to make money. So, um, I think you do need to think about other things you can do alongside. Um, I mean, Emma Barnett, the radio presenter, is really good on this subject. Um, if you're a janitor in my type, you might laugh past you. There's lots of ways to immerse yourself in it. There's ways to get your voice out there. All this, this the whole Substack, the whole,
Hmm.
just if you want to write, get yourself seen, go for it. Do not be shy. But it's hard and it's not well paid at the beginning. Um, you know, you might be a journalist for a digital publication, but you're just writing a brilliant copy. I mean, that's not going to satisfy you, is it? But it is what it is. Um, Writing good content, we talked about the AM thing. That's going to be challenging
Yeah,
because it writes okay content,
yeah,
and it will only get better and better. Um, so having an interesting point of view, differentiating yourself, finding a niche. Niches are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves a niche. So if you're really, really passionate about, I don't know, scuba diving or, same with planet, go for that, become an expert, become a trusted authority, become a voice in that space. Hard though.
Oh, yeah. No, I can completely understand, but very, very very, very key advice. Thank you for that. I'll take some of that as well, actually. So thanks for that.
No,
So that's the
sure.
end of my questions. Thank you so much, Lucy. I really, really appreciate you coming on and saying
Pleasure.
yes as well. Like, I really shot in the dark. I was like, let me just try and see what she said. So thank you so
Oh no,
much.
God.
I
No
loved
worries
having
at
you
all.
on.
It's really lovely
Thank
to
you so
speak.
much.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this conversation resonated and inspired you as much as it did for me. Lucy's journey has been so incredible, and she is the true epitome of how to continuously and successfully reinvent yourself while still sticking to your values. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening, as well as share it forward. Thank you so much, and see you on the next episode of At Work With.